Okay, good. Now declare the meeting, regular scheduled meeting for the Natrona County Board of County Commissioners for Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021 to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Hendry,
Here.
Commissioner Kaufman. Here. Commissioner Milne.
Here.
Commissioner North.
Here.
Chairman Bertolio.
Here. Thank you. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The chair to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Milne, second by Commissioner Hendry. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of CUP 20-13, a request to permit as a conditional use operation of a portable hot mix asphalt plant in close proximity to a YDOT project occurring on West US Highway 2026. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, rules of the Natrona County Commission, and other applicable laws. I would ask those individuals who wish to speak to address the commission to approach the lectern and state your name and address. May we have a staff report, Ms. Chavez?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is an application by JTL Group doing business as Knife River. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to operate the portable hot mix asphalt plant in close proximity to a YDOT project that's occurring on West US Highway 2026. The parcel is located approximately 10 miles west of the airport, and it's right in between Bucknam Road and Pedros Pass. All of the zoning in this area is our ranching, agricultural, and mining. You can see located on this map, it is just west of Bucknam Road and Pedros Pass. We recently had a conditional use permit for some collector cars. There's also a communication tower that's on the left-hand side of the road that we did a conditional use permit for. So it's right in between those two locations. This is an aerial of the parcel of land that's being used for this project. It's roughly 14.3 acres that they're actually going to be utilizing with the storage of the plant. And Knife River received a contract from YDOT to pave a portion that's right in this location. Along with the plant, roughly 20,000 tons of aggregate stockpiles will be placed on the property for use in making the asphalt. Knife River anticipates setting the plant after March 1st, so hopefully after this is approved, they'll be starting the setup, and plan on being completed and moved out of the area around July 31st of this year. The conditional use permit criteria: will granting the conditional use permit contribute to an overburdening of county services? The CUP will not contribute to an overburdening of county services. There are no county services required beyond the approval of this conditional use permit. Will granting the CUP cause undue traffic, parking, population density, or environmental problems? As part of highway repaving work, there will be traffic-related concerns. These will all be addressed by the regulations that are specified by YDOT. The portable asphalt plant is currently permitted by WDEQ Air Quality Division, and the site will also be covered by the Stormwater Pollution and Prevention Plan that's issued by DEQ's Water Quality Division. Proposed finding of fact: permitting the plant at this location will keep truck traffic in the area of construction rather than long-haul trips from town. Additionally, Knife River will follow all environmental requirements as stipulated by DEQ's air quality and water quality regulations. Will granting the conditional use permit impair the use of adjacent property or alter the character of the neighborhood? Granting the conditional use permit will not impair the use of adjacent property, as there are no neighbors nearby that would have their character altered. The proposed finding of fact, there are no adjacent neighbors within the immediate vicinity of this location. The surrounding area is primarily used for grazing and would not be altered by this permit. Will granting the conditional use permit detrimentally affect the public health, safety, and welfare or nullify the intent of the development plan or the zoning resolution? The proposed finding of fact, the project will not be detriment to the public health, safety, or welfare. The project sited in undeveloped areas zoned for agricultural purposes is compatible with the intent of both the land use plan and the zoning resolution. Public comment as of tonight's meeting, there hasn't been any comments received written into the office. At the Planning Commission meeting, the applicant did speak in favor, and an adjacent neighbor came in and asked some questions and ultimately had no opposition to the project. At their February 9th Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of the application. There was a condition added that an expiration date be placed on it, and that date was December 30th of 2021. So at the end of this year, they wanted to have that permit expire. And that completes the staff report.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Chavez?
Got one.
Commissioner Hendry?
Did you hear anything from the Alcova Irrigation District?
I did not.
Okay. So they must not have any, do you know if they got notified?
They do get notified as part of my review.
Okay. I just wonder if they had any concerns or anything. I don't think they would, but they're right, it's between two ditches. Okay.
All right, anyone else? Commissioner
Mr. Chairman,
Kaufman?
just a quick question. So I read that I think the end date of the project, it's anticipated to be the end of July. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is there anything that would stipulate if they run over, like notification, or how we would be kept abreast, or what the impacts might be of that if it goes over?
There has been no discussion about that.
Okay.
No.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of CUP 20-13 to approach the lectern. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Mark Foster with Knife River, and first of all, I could answer your question that Alcova Irrigation District was notified, and we did obtain a encroachment permit from them, and that is in place. They had no issues with it. And as to your comment, the anticipated completion date, the July 31st, to be honest with you, I gave myself an extra month, but the YDOT project is supposed to be completed by July 31st. My schedule shows us being done at the end of June. And then the Planning Commission picked the December 30th as a little bit of leeway to make sure everything's done, but I intend to have everything out by the end of July for sure.
All right, questions for Mr. Foster?
Yeah, I do.
Commissioner Hendry?
Where's the start and finish of is it a mill and overlay deal?
It is a mill and overlay. It starts at milepost 20.24, I think it is. There's an old stone house right there.
Yeah.
And then it goes just before Natrona, milepost 30, right at milepost 30.
Good. It's deteriorating.
It's pretty rough, and they're extending some of the passing lanes. Some of them didn't quite extend far enough over the hill to allow trucks to get back up to speed, so some of those passing lanes are being extended as well. So there is some dirt work involved, but
That's great. It needs it.
yes, sir.
All right. Commissioner Milne?
Kind of going back to the irrigation district and canal run behind your project there, have you come up with, or do you foresee any problems with spills or anything like that, contamination or anything into that canal?
No, the general lay of the land is the drainage comes away from the canal and towards the YDOT right-of-way. So anything that did spill would actually go to the right-of-way as opposed to the canal. And then in addition to that, when they dug the canal, they pretty much spoiled all the dirt on the side where the plant site is going to be. So not only the drainage away, but it would have to climb up over, I don't know what that is, a 10-foot embankment. So the canal is very much protected.
Thanks.
Commissioner Hendry?
Kind of to tie on to that, the ditch itself's got a big berm on it,
Yes, sir.
but there is some laterals down on the Casper side of your project. Are those drain ditches, and where do they go?
There's a drain ditch that's to the, I guess it'd be the northeast of the
Right.
project, and it kind of drains down to the southeast, I guess. There again, there's a good-sized embankment along that. Our stormwater plan, it will include, we're stripping the topsoil, and we'll have a windrow or a dike of topsoil, and then behind that is a diversion ditch. Those ditches, just by the general lay of the land, would drain down kind of to the southeast corner of that property, and then at that point, there will be stormwater BMPs, they call them, or
Yeah.
devices that keep that from leaving the site.
Good.
And that DEQ stormwater permit has been approved and is in place with DEQ.
Any other questions for Mr. Foster? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of CUP 20-13? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of CUP 20-13? There being no others to speak in favor, at this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to CUP 20-13 to approach the lectern. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? There being no others to speak for or against, I now declare this CUP 20-13 public hearing closed.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve CUP 20-13 with incorporation of, in reference of all finding of fact set forth by staff.
I would gladly second that. I'm just now learning how to do the potholes, so maybe that'll get.
It has been moved by Commissioner Milne, second by Commissioner Hendry to approve CUP 20-13 along with findings of fact. Is the sunset date in there considered part of the finding of fact?
Mr. Chairman, so I think you're asking about the December 31st
Yes.
deadline for the CUP to expire. I believe that would be part of the findings of fact.
Okay, fine. All right, discussion? No discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Post same sign, motion carried. I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of PS 20-7, a request to replat, or to plat 3 lots to be known as the Heiser Subdivision Number 2. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, rules of the Natrona County Commission, and other applicable laws. I would ask those individuals who wish to address the commission to approach the lectern and state your name and address for the record. Ms. Chavez, may I have staff report, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is an application by Wesley Heiser, and this property is located right at the intersection of 12 Mile Road and Shin Road, west of Casper and south of Poison Spider. The property and all surrounding properties are zoned urban ag. And when the criteria for approval, is the subdivision consistent with the development plan? The proposed subdivision is located in Neighborhood 12, which is our Casper Canal area of the 2016 development plan, and it calls for rural residential development and maintaining the agricultural land. Staff's proposed finding of fact. The proposed subdivision does comply with the development plan and the zoning resolution. The subdivision will provide for rural residential development with agricultural land. Is this subdivision in conformance with the general provisions and subdivision design standards? Proposed finding of fact. The subdivision has been processed in accordance with the applicable general provisions and subdivision design standards that are in the 2013 Natrona County subdivision regulations, and there is appropriate utility easements and access to all lots. Has the applicant provided efficient or evidence that a sufficient water supply system and sewer disposal system will comply with state and local laws and regulations? The Lot 1 and 2 will have water that's serviced by Poison Spider Water District, and Lot 3 has an existing well. And both of these options do meet the standards that are given in Appendix P, which is our water requirements. The applicant has also been working with the health department on the septic suitability, and the lots are going to be developed in the future, and they're going to require additional testing. There was, obviously the ground froze, I think, before the testing was completed, but health department did support the subdivision and just note that future development will require the slit trench and percolation tests. Proposed finding of fact, the applicant has met the requirements of water and the sewer studies. Does the subdivision appear to be compatible with the surrounding area and not detrimental to the future development of the area? Proposed finding of fact, there will be no detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of the area and to the county. The lots will be used as rural residential lots. And these are oversized for the zoning district. The urban ag zoning district has a 10-acre minimum. Each of these lots, and there will be 3 of them, are approximately 23 acres apiece. The improvement and service district requirements. Access to the subdivision is from 12 Mile and Shin Road. These are both county roads, and an improvement and service district will not be required. The application was sent to Natrona County Road and Bridge for comments, and there were no comments received. As of tonight's meeting, 1 comment was received, and this was from an adjacent neighbor who had concerns with further subdividing of the parcels and a possible rezoning of the area. Staff would note that any future applications would come back before the board for approval. Public notices would be sent out. So as of right now, there has been no discussion about any future zone changes or any future subdividing. And so I did speak with the neighbors and relay that back to them. Staff sent the notification to 19 neighbors within 1 mile, and at the Planning Commission meeting, the applicant did speak in favor of this agenda item. And that concludes the staff report.
All right, questions? No questions, thank you. At this time, I'd ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of PS 20-7 to approach the lectern. Good evening, sir.
I am the applicant. I would request that everyone speak a little louder for me. My ears are not good. Okay, yeah.
I don't know, sir, if you want to use this, but it'll help you be able to hear us.
I have hearing aids in. I'm not sure they'll add anything.
Will it work with hearing aid?
Whenever we talk, we'll use our mics.
Okay, we'll do better. We'll speak louder.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. This is 70 acres. It's almost all of it has irrigation rights to Casper Alcova. I purchased it several years ago as a tree farm for selling different sized trees. The problem it's reached at this point is the trees have gotten too big, so that except for very expensive equipment, it's really not feasible to move them. So I think the best use of it at this point is to subdivide it. I personally have no desire to further subdivide it, although I have looked at the county requirements. If you get up to 6, it gets fairly onerous, at least my reading of the guidelines. But I think at this point in time, the best use of that land would be to subdivide it into 3 parcels and have it sold. There's considerable other urban development on Dusty Lane right behind it. So there's quite a bit of housing over in that area. So I think that's probably enough. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Commissioner North?
Mr. Heiser, is Lot 1 where the
A little
current...
louder, please.
Huh?
Louder.
Is lot number 1 the one that has the current building on it? The furthest to the east?
It's the east lot is where the building is.
Okay.
I can't tell you right now. I don't recall which one's 1 and which is 3. So,
1 would be, or 3 would be the one down next to 12 Mile.
okay.
So 3
that's-
is
so
number
1
1.
would be the
Yeah.
building, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It already has a septic system in it. I have to admit to you, though, that finding it might be a bit difficult. I know where it is, it's just going to be finding it. We've done the trenches and the other holes necessary for perfusion, but I'm not sure whether the county has completed that at this point.
Mr. Heiser, could we get your name and address on the record, please?
Physical address,
Yes, sir.
Wesley Heiser, Hiser, 14991 West Iron Creek Road, Casper, Wyoming, 82604.
Thank you. That's
Great.
all we need. Any other questions for Mr. Heiser? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in favor of PS 20-7? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of PS 20-7? There being none, at this time I'd ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to PS 20-7 to approach the lectern. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? There being no others to speak for or against, I now declare this public hearing closed for PS 20-7.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Hendry.
I would move to approve PS 20-7 with, in all accordance with the findings of fact.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved by Commissioner Hendry, second by Commissioner North to approve PS 20-7 along with the findings of fact. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of a request by the Planning Department to update the 2016 Development Plan, Chapter 7, Natural Resource Plan, also affectionately known as the NRP, as presented by DJ and A. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, rules of the Natrona County Commission, and other applicable laws. I would ask those individuals who wish to address the commission to approach the lectern and state your name and address. Ms. Chavez, may we have a staff report again?
Mr. Chairman, there was no staff report prepared for this. What we would recommend is that we have Desidale come up and answer questions and kind of give you a brief overview. And we do ask for your approval, though.
Right, thank you. At this time, I'd ask those individuals wishing to speak in favor of the update to approach the lectern. Please. Ms. Dale.
Good evening again, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. This update to the Chapter 7, Desidale with DJ&A.
Thank you.
Full address or?
Yes.
Okay, 2000 Maple Street, Missoula, Montana, 59808. So this has been a wonderful project to be able to work on the update to the Chapter 7 of the development plan. This started with the review of your existing current plan. We also reviewed the template from the governor's office, and then we also reviewed neighboring county plans to ensure that all resource areas and all considerations within the county were considered. An extensive public process was also done, though with minimal input, as could be considered, but we did have 2 public meetings, of which we had attendance from several nonprofit organizations and government agencies. We also reached directly out to the Conservation District, the BLM, the Bureau of Reclamation, and the Wyoming Game and Fish for comments directly on and review of the plan, and we incorporated their comments through the entire process of this planning document. All in all, there were some minor changes and additions made to the plan, mostly in expansion of the socioeconomics, expansion of the recreation resource areas, water quality, and wildlife within here. This plan can be used for further working as a cooperating agency with the federal government, and also to help show the objectives and priorities from Natrona County. Do you have any questions? And man, I'm really nervous, sorry.
Any questions for Ms. Dale? Commissioner Hendry?
You know, I really don't have any questions, but you did a good job today. We talked a little bit today, and I just curiosity, did we double the size of it, or that's a pretty good sized document?
Doubled or tripled the
Really?
size of it, yes.
I would almost say quadruple.
Man, it's got lots of stuff in it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mill?
I'm going to kind of put you on the hot seat a little bit more, just for everybody's knowledge of why we're doing this Chapter 7 update. Can you explain why we as a county want to do a Chapter 7 update like this and have that as thick as it is, what its benefit is to the county?
Yes, so the county is considered the expert in the health and safety, socioeconomics, and well-being of the citizens within their county. And with that comes a privilege of being able to work with the federal government in pre-decisional planning projects. For example, in resource management plans, other approvals on federal lands, such as oil and gas actions or solar or wind-powered actions, as an example. So in order to be able to have that cooperating agency status, you first have to have an approved plan. And that plan has to set the conditions or show the expertise of and the status of the resources within the county. And it also has to state the objectives and the priorities for the county as well. And that plan can be used in many ways. It can be, one, used as a technical reference in federal planning. It can also be used as a consistency for the county so that if you have someone within the commission, for example, that does not have the expertise in natural resources, it is that baseline information that can be used and brought forward in those discussions and negotiations. And it also puts forward the concerns that the federal government has to consider. I think that's important to state, is that there is a legal obligation for the federal government to review, the county's plan and to consider what they're doing and how that impacts that plan. And so that is truly the baseline importance of why you went through this process and how it can be used. And the intent of this plan is to be reviewed on a regular basis and updated as needed as political climates change, as issues change, as resources change or become apparent within the county.
Thank you for a very good explanation, and you did a fantastic job with this Chapter 7 too, in my opinion. Basically, in a nutshell, we wanted a seat at the table with any federal planning and whatnot. We needed this.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments? All right, thank you. It's been a long road, but it's a great document, so.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of the update to approach the lectern. Those individuals wishing to speak in favor. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Right? Being there's no one to wish any additional to speak in favor, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the update to approach the lectern. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? And for the third and final time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Okay. There being no others to speak for or against, I now declare the update public hearing closed.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Milne.
I would make a motion to accept this Chapter 7 update for Natrona County National Resource Plan as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Milne, seconded by Commissioner Hendry to approve the update as presented. Further discussion? Oh, there being none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, we went ahead and approved 35 entities for CARES Act allocations. There was some question as it relates to one particular application, and Commissioner, County Attorney Nelson, could you give us a quick update on that?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you correctly pointed out, on February 16th, the commission approved allocating funds to 30-plus nonprofit entities. And that was based in part upon the discussion that took place previous to the formal meeting in a public work session. And at that public work session, Commissioner North had indicated he was abstaining from voting with regard to the Platte River Rod and Gun Club as he had a conflict. Unfortunately, during the formal meeting, the allocation was approved en masse, and I don't believe that abstention was properly noted on the formal record. And so I wanted to bring this back before the commission today at this formal meeting and ask the commission to affirm the vote of approval specifically for the Platte River Rod and Gun Club to allocate funding in the amount of $7,500 in order to clarify the record with regard to that entity.
All right, thank you. The chair to entertain a motion to, by resolution, to approve the Platte River Gun Club in the amount of $7,500 allocation from the CARES Act funds that were given to us by the state.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to reaffirm that
Okay.
decision.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Commissioner North.
I am going to abstain from this vote.
All right. Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Hendry, second by Commissioner Kaufman, with the abstention noted by Commissioner North. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you for the clarification, and whoever caught that, we want to make sure we're doing everything right and above board. Public comments. Anyone wishing to address the commission at this time?
It's something different, but not on that.
Oh, this is your
public
time.
I haven't been to a county commission meeting, so I'm new on this one here.
And if, again, if we could just have your name and address for the record?
Nicholas Wales, W-A-L-E-S, 906 East 17th Street. Here, I got copies if you want to hand them out. I caught part of the news through Oil City or K2 or something like that on the internet. And when I can catch it, I try and read it. When I can catch some of the meetings, that's what's going on with them. And I understand that for years, there's been a lot of confusion over the taxes, on property taxes. Mine is rather simple, but extremely frustrating, and this has gone on for years. With Mr. Keating, I've actually went in there in person last year or the year before. I circled a couple spots on those papers where you can see there is a title number with the size of it, of the trailer. This is considering a mobile home. I have a mobile home that my dad lives in, a 14 by 70. For years, I've been fighting with the county, saying it's not a 16 by 80. If you look at the bill, I'm sure you've all seen the bills before, that bottom little left spot, it's marked out as a 16 by 80 again. I told my dad this time I'm actually going to go to a county commissioners meeting and figure out what's going on with you guys' computer system. If there's something that will not accept a 14 by 70, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm not good in technology, but if Mr. Keating and I sit down next to him, he says he puts it in there, paid it off, I've took care of everything, and it's back to a 16 by 80 again. I'm being charged for a different size. A couple bucks, it's principle. And this is a continuing problem. And it's a headache. And even if it was you guys, as I'm sure you do the same, you guys bill me for the right thing, is what it comes down to. I've went to his staff, I've went to the people that you pay your taxes to, and they keep saying, I got to go to Mr. Keating, Mr. Keating, Mr. Keating. All right, third year I went in, which like I said was last year, the year before, sat down with him. He personally didn't look at my title, refused to look at my title in hand. But he did some typing, did some stuff on the computer, supposedly it was taken care of. This is again this year. As little as it seems minute by just a couple bucks, this needs to stop. And I can understand a lot of other people being frustrated over hundreds of dollars. I don't make a lot. But this is something that's continued to go on and on. So if I figured if I brought you the papers, you can actually see, other than someone running their mouth, I don't like saying something if I can't prove it. Now I have the piece of paper, the billing, and the title right there. And if you guys can figure out something, I'll get a chance and I'll try and sit with Mr. Keating or the office again, or unless you guys can get with him, because I believe you guys are kind of his boss in a sense, or somebody is, or you'll be able to see him a lot easier than I will. Ask him, hand him the paper. One of you can hand it to him and say, what's going on? Again, I'm frustrated over it. And if I went in there and spoke to probably 4 different ladies in that first office, went all the way back to his office, sat in there with him, and this is the bill that I get again. So I don't know what steps next to take. I know you've got a lot of bigger issues, several thousand, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 people within this county that you got to deal with on taxes. This is mine. I can at least prove what mine is other than why'd my taxes go up. They're not even billing me for the right size of trailer. I personally asked them, I said, does your staff not know how to use a measuring tape? I will admit I said that. Kind of irked him a little bit, but I got his attention. There's a big difference between 16 by 80 and 14 by 70. I need something. I don't know if, like I said, somebody asked me, does the computer program only accept so many things? Double wide, single. If it's single, it's this size. If it's double, it's this. And if it's elsewise, it's a modular. I don't know how it's set up on the computers. But if whoever wants to speak to him, whoever gets a chance that's close to him and can mention this to him, I would appreciate it. Getting the call up there is, well, we'll see when we can get him to get back, give you a call back, or see who can call and talk to you. It's this time of the year, they're busier than heck up there, unless you sit and wait. So I figured this was the easiest way to address it, and like I said, if I brought it in person, that gives you something to look at.
All right. Can I get your phone number?
307-371-6256.
371
6256, yes, sir.
6256. Okay. See what we can do.
You guys can give me a call, or he can, whichever way they want to, and if I have to take time off from work, my boss knows what's going on, if it's that important, so I can get down there. I'm generally off at 4.
Okay. I honestly think the title speaks for itself, so.
It does. They refused to look at it.
Well,
And
we'll-
didn't want to show me what was on their screen as to what was different on it,
Okay.
so
Well, we're still continuing on with Board of Equalization hearings, so we have a captive audience of
Okay.
him and some of his staff.
yes. All right, that's why I said, someone in here's got to know,
Mr. Chairman.
better chance of speaking with them than I do.
Okay. Commissioner Hendry.
Keep an eye, you'll get a tax assessment here in a month or so, really. Keep an eye on that, and if it's still wrong on this one, make sure that you protest your tax and go through that process. Again, if it's on there again, do that.
Okay.
Because that's the only way to really get an audience with the assessor. We act as Board of Equalization, but he's an elected official too.
Yes.
And we can ask him to look into this, but other than that, he's an elected official. But if it's on your assessment before you get the bill, and it'll show you in there how to protest that, go ahead and do that,
All right, I appreciate that.
okay?
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, ladies.
Anyone else wishing to address the commission? Oh, we're done.
Somebody's going to have to answer one way or another. I figured right here, hopefully, this is an appropriate use of the forum since I have all of you. I'm Gregory Hurst. My address is 237 West 8th, Apartment 6, Casper, Wyoming. I just had a question. I was hoping you could illuminate a little bit more about this, the update to the Natural Resource Development Plan. I understand this in a certain way. It gives us some leverage when it comes to dealing with the BLM, the federal government, who owns like 48% of the county, making it more explicit what our priorities and concerns are with our resources. And I was wondering if you could maybe illuminate some examples. I mean, there's updates in here to the use of reservoirs, irrigation, riparian areas, and gravel, I assume that kind of refers to the 33-mile road and Buffalo Creek Road saga, taking a long time to get some gravel on that road as an example of Natrona County trying to take care of its natural resources, make that a scenic byway. I just didn't know if that was an example of what this update to the document allows the county to do. Thank you.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can give you an example. Let's take that we've got that sets out our values, which we feel is how we view Natrona County and how the assets, our resources should be used. If the BLM or some other federal agency, for example, comes in and issues orders that are in direct conflict with ours, they're required now to take steps to either address them or mitigate those changes. So it gives us a starting point that they have to at least recognize that we live here, and that what comes out of Washington, D.C. or someplace else, when it trickles down and you get those broad-based decisions that they come out with, if they're in direct conflict with our resource plan, they have to address it. They can mitigate it, but they can't just simply ignore it. If there's no plan, then if the plan is not very complete, if we leave something out and we don't address it, then we don't have a place at the table to start with them. And so it's really a tool for us to protect our resources, and also a tool that somebody coming in knows what our values are.
And you believe this would have bearing on a presumed or possible indefinite extension of the federal moratorium, or the moratorium on drilling on federal lands, the permits?
Oh, absolutely. One, the resource plans that are out there, there's our natural resource plan, but there are resource plans that the BLM has to adopt for the areas that they oversee. So each office has different ones. And if this moratorium in particular is in direct conflict of what's there right now, because the existing one says that all federal lands are multi-use. And within that, it says oil and gas drilling is permissible. So to simply say we're not going to allow it, the federal government saying they're not going to allow it, they still have to go through the exact same process they did to create the resource management plan. So here again, now we take our plan and the existing BLM plan, and we have up here a federal mandate that we're going to stop this. It's in direct conflict with two other existing plans. So it does come into play.
Excellent, thank you. Any other examples from the past? The gravel, irrigation?
Commissioner Hendry.
It would affect the gravel only that in our plan, we need gravel for good roads. That it doesn't really talk to those specific projects that we've got out there. It's more of a broad picture. These kind of documents, the last EIS we had was down in Converse County. They have to address everything in our plan if it affects Natrona County. They had another EIS out west in the Gun Barrel Unit and Lysite. Some of that area was in Natrona County. While it wasn't handled in the BLM and Casper, they were a part of it, and so they have to address our concerns. Our concerns would be the socioeconomics. There's a section on socioeconomic profile in this plan, and it shows where people work. And I don't have it in front of me, but and where people's income comes from and how that relates to the whole county. Those dollars, when they come in from people working in the oil field, working in natural resources, they turn over 7 times a dollar does in this community. So they have to address how their decision is going to affect those things.
Excellent. Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for the questions. Anyone else wishing to address the commission tonight? All right. There being none, commissioners' comments. Commissioner North.
I don't have any comments tonight, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Milne. None. Commissioner Hendry.
You know, I don't really have anything, just, I said it one other time, and we need to get some moisture in this county, and, you know, I guess moisture to a lot of people just means fire, but, western end of the county, we had 3.5 inches of rain in a 6 to 9 inch rainfall area. We're not getting a whole lot of moisture now. We've had more winter and the cold snap in the last month than we had all winter. And so we definitely need some moisture. So hopefully we'll get it. And it can happen. If you get 2 inches in that one specific week of the year that the sun's out and it's growing and we get little wind, we could be set for a year. But boy, it's got to happen. And the snowpack up in the head of the North Platte is pretty light. That means irrigation season's clear on down through Nebraska. Irrigators can be affected through that. So it looks like it's going to be pretty dry. And I don't know about global warming. It happened to us in 1 year. I mean, take a look at last year compared to this year. We were plowing snow every day for 3 months, and so was the county. And this year we haven't turned a blade, so it's continuing to be pretty dry.
Thank you. Vice Chair Kaufman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a few things. So today we went through a process of interviewing a few applicants for a county board. That one happened to be planning and zoning. So for those who are home watching us on YouTube, what I would implore is that if you're interested in being involved in the county in some way, we do appoint to many boards, and the information on those boards and openings can be found on our website. It's critical. We have residents who want to be in the conversation and get involved. So that would be first. Number 2 is we talked a little bit about what's going on at the Casper Natrona County Health Department. And on the website, casperversuscovid.com, is the order that they're going in for vaccination. So if you are listening to this and you are curious about where you fall, I would encourage you to go look at that and see possibly when your opportunity arises, if you're interested in that. And then lastly, what I'll say is we had state wrestling in town last weekend. The next 2 weekends are state basketball tournaments. Those tournaments are worth millions of dollars to this community. So I know that people are grumbling that the line at Wendy's is long and Marshall's parking lot is full, but those are real dollars and those are real jobs to this community. So I would encourage us to just have our hospitality hats on and take good care of those people while they're in town. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Oh, Commissioner Milne raised his finger first. That's right.
Mr. Chairman, actually,
Yes.
I do have one thing. As people know probably, Ann, our clerk of court, passed away. And I want to just make sure that we recognize that her contribute to this county and everything, and just give our deepest sympathies to her friends and family. And our thoughts are definitely with her coworkers and everybody, but that's all I want to say.
Commissioner Hendry.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. That's good. Where the Republican Party, we officially noticed them. They're going to pick 3 names on the 9th, and then we'll pick a replacement for Clerk of District Court on, it looks like, Tuesday the 16th, whatever that meeting day is. So anyway, 5 days after they pick, 5 working days, we'll pick a person. The other thing that I had to say was kind of in lines with Commissioner Kaufman's things. We had a CNFR meeting last night, and CNFR is well on its way. It's going to happen. We don't know all of the restrictions yet for COVID. It's whatever the state does at that time, but those restrictions are being loosened all the time. And so we're going to have a CNFR, and we hope to at least half full in the event center out there. So we're going to help with that. And the colleges are all looking forward to being here in one form or another. So CNFR is on. College National Rodeo will be here in June. That's it.
All right, and I would just wanted to echo Commissioner Milne's sentiment as it relates to Ms. Volin. She had been in the county's employment for, I don't know how long, but 30 years. So she was, anytime you lose an employee, let alone an elected official, that served that long in the county, you lose a valuable member of your team. So not only did we lose a valuable member of our team, but the community lost a valuable member, as did her family. So our condolences go out to her family and friends. If you are interested in the position, you have to be a Republican. You have to live in Natrona County, I believe, for Clerk of District Court. I believe that's the case. And the Republican Party is accepting names until, is it this Friday? This Friday. So if you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of our office, and we can direct you to how where you need to go on that. Commissioner Henry?
Mr. Chairman, I just add a thank you to the staff over there. Boy, they really are helping during this time, and I don't know who knows who's going to get the position, but I know Jen Tuma, our past Clerk of District Court, has been over there helping where she can and kind of helping those guys, but all of the staff over there really stepped up, and thank them too.
Yeah. All right. Any further comments? There being none, we are adjourned.